Welcome back. Now we take your questions. If you have a question yourself, send it to us at QuranSpeaks.com. So Dr. Shabir, the question that we have is, how can we reconcile our love and respect for the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, with information in the early biographies regarding political assassinations of poets at Muhammad's command, or the massacre of the Jews of Bani Qurayza?
Well, we can reconcile this. Well, first of all, what's the problem with reconciliation? Let me get to that. The problem here is that obviously in our modern sensibilities, we can't accept that a great leader of the past would have ordered the assassination of people for what seems to be like petty issues, like what's the big issue if somebody's reciting poetry against you, so you assassinate that person. And then what about the reports that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had hundreds of men of a particular Jewish tribe killed on one occasion following from a battle? Like, okay, so you've besieged them, you've captured them, regardless of what the crime is. Now, what do you do with them? Do you just assassinate them? So the reports that say that the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did something like this could be difficult for Muslims to deal with, given our modern sensibilities. So then how do we reconcile that? Now let me get to that. Well, for one thing, we should recognize that the time and circumstances of the Prophet, peace be upon him, were very different from our own. So that gives us some allowance for some things which might be unpalatable to us to think about in a modern context, but we have to see how this applied in an ancient context. The second and most important part of this answer is to recognize that some reports about what the Prophet, peace be upon him, said and did may not be authentically what the Prophet, peace be upon him, said and did, even if these reports are found in some of the most cherished records that Muslims have celebrated throughout the centuries and called them like books of authentic narratives of the Prophet. Because each one of these narratives, each hadith, has a text, the thing that is being reported, but also a chain of narrators who reported this thing from one person to another for many generations until they were until the text was eventually put into writing. So you know how information can change from one mouth to another, yes, as people relate things. Even the memories of people change. Like if you take the testimony of somebody one day and you take the testimony the next day, the testimony the next day could actually be different from the testimony from the previous day. So given this volatility of oral reports, we should not give credence to reports which paint the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, in a light contrary to that which is depicted of him in the Quran. The Quran in the 21st chapter, the 107th verse, says that God has sent the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, as a mercy to the worlds. So given that general description and everything else we know from the Quran, we should not attribute to the Prophet heinous deeds, and hence we can recognize our love for him with these kinds of reports.
That was very helpful. Thank you, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.